Is the Axe-FX Standard still worth taking a look at in 2021? And why did I downgrade from my Axe-FX 2 to the Standard? That's what we'll discuss today. Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo J. Karjalainen, and it's good to have you along. Today I'm taking a look at the Axe-FX Standard, which is basically vintage gear because it's so old, and vintage, as we all know, is always better. This is weird vintage gear because it's not worth a ton of money. Actually, you can get these things really on the cheap. I got mine for 400 euros. I've seen you can get them for 350, 400, in that ballpark, slightly more maybe sometimes. And this was released in 2006. I remember those days well. I still had my youth and my looks, but no money to get an Axe-FX Standard. We've come a long way from those days. We have the Axe-FX 3, we've had the Kemper for ages now. We have the Quad Cortex, which is the new kid on the block. And actually, I am going to compare this to the Quad Cortex later on in the video. So I have 4 sounds programmed into this. One is a clean, one is a crunch, one is my Plexi type kind of go-to sound, and that's the one I'll be comparing with the Quad Cortex, and I have a 5150 type higher gain thing. I'll play through these, discuss when I think this is a relevant kind of piece of gear and when maybe not, and also explain why I downgraded from the Axe-FX 2. So let's get going with the clean that has a ton of everything going on. Now, one of the complaints I've heard about the Axe-FX 1 and 2 is that the user interface is terrible and that you need to hook it up to a computer to be able to use it. And that's utter rubbish. You can do everything here. You don't need to hook it up to a computer. Yes, it gets more easy, convenient that way, but I think it's fine. And then people complain that I can't tweak things on the Marshall code. Anyway, that's a different story. So let's go. Here's a clean sound with tons of reverb and delay that I'll switch off and give you a kind of totally clean sound. What I have here is a custom mahogany Strat with Seymour Duncan YJM Fury pickups. Those are stacked humbuckers, so they're kind of in between single coils and humbuckers. I have nothing else connected. This is the clean. Okay, so that's the clean sound that I have programmed into this. Now, if I was running this, I'm not using this live. Well, not been using anything live because of the kind of things that have been happening in the world this past 1.5 years. But I was using my Marshalls live, and I had the Axe-FX 2 as my kind of effects unit. Okay, so that was the clean sound that I have programmed into the Standard. Now, why did I downgrade from the Axe-FX 2? Well, I was using the Axe-FX 2 as kind of a standalone unit with the MIDI controller live and a monitor so I could hear myself. Then I decided I want to go back to the Marshalls, so I used the Axe-FX 2 as an effects unit, and that got a bit annoying because I needed a pedal board and I needed the Axe-FX 2 and I needed the Marshall. And what I was using the Axe-FX 2 for at home was demoing purposes. So I got a couple of pedals to do the delays and whatever I got from the Axe-FX 2 and just left that at home. And that kind of seemed like overkill because all I was using it for was demoing purposes. Then Axe-FX released, or Fractal Audio released the Axe-FX 3, and I realized Axe-FX 2 is going to drop in price. So I sold it. And I got an atomic amplifier of some sort. And had that for a while. And saw this for 400 and thought, this is more what I need. So I got this, sold the atomic. That was the reason. Basically, save a bit of money, and the Axe-FX 2 was just overkill. The clean sounds okay in this. Let's go to a crunchy sound. Okay, so this sound I've built more the way that Devin Townsend would build his kind of reverb and delay, just keeps going on and on, is where you have the dry signal, but you feed the dry signal to a delay, but the dry signal also goes past, past without any effects, and then you feed the delay, just 100% delay into a reverb and into another delay, so the dry signal doesn't really pass through that way. That's where you get this kind of different type of thing than if you would just put a delay, reverb and delay and pass the dry signal all the way through that. Now this would sound better on an Axe-FX 2. The effects are, well, I would say for 2006 they were great things. These days you can get better, but still not bad. Okay, let's go to the higher gain sound. So this is a 5150 type thing. So here I only have delay. I can remove that because some people get offended by delay. Not too bad. get the general idea. Let's go over to the Plexi. This is the kind of Plexi sound that I have programmed in here. It's been perfectly decent for demoing purposes. Especially because I have kids and they scream all the time and I can't hear what I'm doing anyway. Does it sound like the Marshall Plexi over there? No! But it sounds close enough for my needs. And this is really it. Personally, I think this does an adequate job even to this day. Now, if you have more money to spend on something bigger and better, by all means. But let's see. This is ancient, old. The Neural DSP Quad Cortex is supposedly the best thing out there at the moment. So I'm going to play just a bit with the Plexi sound I have here and switch over to the Quad Cortex from an older video that I did on that with the Plexi sound that I have programmed into that, so you can hear the difference, because the Quad Cortex is 1700 roughly and this is roughly 400. Now, one thing that the Quad Cortex does have over this and the Axe-FX2 and the Axe-FX3 is that it's on the floor. And that's so convenient, because with this you need a separate MIDI controller to control stuff live. And I basically don't like extra gear, so it's not so much the carrying around of extra gear, it's the cables and the connecting stuff. I just basically want to stick something there, maybe if I'm using that, a couple of cables into the Plexi, and basically that's good to go. With the Quad Cortex you can just stick that on the floor, you have everything in front of you, maybe you add a volume pedal, maybe you add a wah if you want, and that's it. But this, even though it's ancient, old, vintage technology, almost as old as those legendary tube screamers that people pay €1,000 for. What's wrong? Even though this is ancient old, it's not terrible. Sure, it's the high frequencies are a bit weird, it's a bit plasticky somehow. It doesn't really roar in the same way. It hasn't captured the beast of the Plexi. But it does an adequate job. So this might really be something worth checking out. So if you want to watch more of my gear videos, there's a playlist here. There's also a playlist with some of my music. Please check that out. Click like if you liked the video, comment, let me know what you thought, or to the whole model, start a debate over modelers. Just keep it nice. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell notification thing, and join me on Patreon because you get access to my Guitar Academy and all of my music. You can take that stuff for free. You can try it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to pay. There's a link to that in the description. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye.